Hello and welcome to the Future Forward series, where we engage with leading industry experts to explore the latest trends and innovations across various domains. I'm Swarnatama Ganguly, founder director of KPI Ladder, a company dedicated to delivering cutting edge solutions in competence development and niche skills hiring. Today, we are very excited to bring these insightful discussions to you as a part of our commitment to continuous learning and innovations. With this, I would like to welcome today's guest, Dr. Amit. Dr. Amit, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me over. And I'm really excited to join you for this future series. So thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to our show. I know you from last 15 years. You are my mentor. You have taught me, decision making sciences and also the statistics. For the viewers' interest, if you can give a small, brief intro of yourself.
Sure. So my name is Amit Saraswat, that is evident. And basically, I'm an electrical engineer from IIT Roorkee. I worked with organizations like Tata Motors. I started my career there. Then probably I'll come to the important part of my career, which is more relevant to this discussion or this talk. I worked with Lending Card and I had set up the team there. And this was the first time in India anybody doing or any organization, sorry, doing digital lending. So me and my team built all the lending models to say for the very first time in India. And that was 2014. After that, I worked with Fidelity, I worked with Home Credit. So I've extensively worked now in the finance sector. Now I run my own startup, which is by the name of Metis IntelliSystems. We recently got funded and we are doing some exciting stuff in the area of risk management. So this is in a nutshell about me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Amit. I think this is really interesting to know that you have worked with different corporates. You worked with different B schools, and now you are going with your venture. Uh, I heard that you are working with different kind of AI powered decision making, right, for the hyper targeting customers, right? So talking about customers and customer experience platforms, we would like to know that customer experience is being the main pillar of fintech, right, and the main differentiator. Probably if you can take us through few of the examples how important it is from your point of view.
Okay. So a very exciting area of and the entire thought of using AI in customer experience. So if you look at it, AI is disrupting the traditional experience. There's no doubt about
True,
it.
true.
And how people are interacting with products and services, it has all changed because of AI, right? Uh, if you look at AI, then these organizations are using very advanced NLP or large language models, or very commonly you will understand it by the name of Chat GPT based models,
Right.
to interact with customers
Mhm.
and trying to make them natural. Of course, like the large language models or the Chat GPT, still not there in terms of making them normal in terms of interactions. After some time, people do understand it's a bot which is talking, but a lot of work is going on in that area.
Mhm.
The other exciting thing is, so this is about like the chatbots. Uh, Chatbots are not old now; they have been there for some time now. If you look at it,
Mhm.
but the other important thing is the use of machine learning and AI models, and it's so sophisticated. I'll say that these models understand the customer need even before the customer knows it. That is something very, very exciting.
True.
Now, if you ask me a question, and with this, like, what are the areas where AI is applied? So I'll say it is applied almost in every area, onboarding customers. The entire finance sector is about advices. So now there is a lot of application of AI for advices. People need advices for investing money, for taking loans, for so many things, right? The bank is, and the bankers are all about advices. Complaints, if you interact so much with an organization, There are bound to be complaints because there are so many humans in the way, and not everybody may be giving you the right service. So there are a lot of complaints which are now handed over to AI. Understanding consumer behavior, I gave an example. You are so perfect that probably you know the need before the customer knows. And the last one, you were talking about hyper targeting. I'll extend it a little and say personalization. How can we personalize a service to a level that it is just the right service or the right financial product for the customer? So a lot of exciting things happening there.
Wonderful, very very much insightful. One more thing I would like to understand, that the lending model. I mean, it has been evolving, right? You also have seen that there have been the trends started with and maybe it early decade back, and now it has changed completely. The AI-driven fintech models have started coming in. The risk management, the entirely the risk assessment part also come into play. So if you can, explain how AI is changing this particular risk assessment part, and how your product, or anybody who is venturing in current era, can make a difference in this particular field.
Okay. So before answering that question, uh, let me state one thing, that banks have not always been using the latest tech. You would have seen that, right? Probably they venture into it a little later than other industries or sector do it. Now, is it because some people say that, okay, banks, this is not their core competency, but believe me, tech is not a core competency of any of the industries, right?
Mhm.
Uh, if you look about it, there are two parts to this, right? One is there is a lot of technology that is available, right? And it keeps on changing. Now, banks are under a lot of regulation. They cannot keep on changing things as and when they want, right? It's a highly regulated entity. So it has to, any change that has to happen, technology, process, or anything, that has to go through a chain of, let's say, permissions, and then only something will happen. It takes its own time. The second thing that we also need to understand is, if the bank let's say the bank adopt that technology, can the customers adopt the technology? That is one. So bank cater to a very broad range of customers, right? Right from 18 years, and some people have accounts when they are minors, from minors to aged people, probably people who are very very old. Now, these people are at different stages in terms of customer adoption. If you look at the youth, there is another problem there. They are so exposed to technology in different areas that their standards are a little high. But when you look at the older generation, they are a little conservative. I'll not say they don't adopt technology. They definitely adopt technology. This is not right. But then what happens is they are a little conservative. Now, if you understand this, I'll come to lending. Now, lending, what happens is, some of the things that you have to understand is, the bankers, the customers in general, they should know why they are lended money or why they are not lended money. Now, if you look at AI, generally it is considered to be a black box kind of a thing. So, believing that AI in terms of lending, initially, I'm talking about the days when I started that, the era was, it had a very little few takers who were actually believing that a digital, a computer or models which actually help them lend money. So only slowly over a period of time, they saw it works, and that's how the adoption started. But now, if I talk about it now, if you look at, and there is a very interesting phenomena. I talk about it. If you
Mhm.
look at RBI 5 years back, then what, or if you look at the statistics or the numbers that were published at that point of a time, you'll see there was a big gap in terms of people who require funding and who are getting funded. This ratio in the percentage of people who were getting funded in 2014 was around 8%. That's all. 92% were not funded. So RBI itself said that, see, if you keep on asking security for loans, that means banks, NBFCs, if you keep on harping on secured loans, this market where we have a lot of people who are uh, underserved, not funded, who are not included, it's very very non-inclusive kind of a policy. So why don't you look at data? We'll provide you data. whatever business data is being generated by the business that would be provided. Why don't you evaluate the customers based on data?
Mhm.
That was a fantastic idea, and that's how digital lending actually started picking up. Unsecured loans, lot of data, and this is how the thing started picking up. But now, if you look at the data of, let's say, the last 1 quarter, you'll see the unsecured loans somehow have become a big problem. And RBI is cautioning everybody across the board about the unsecured loans. So, what you can understand is that something which was a necessity, somewhere, I think, as an industry, probably did not get it completely right. I'll not say they got it completely wrong, that's not correct, but probably they did not get it completely right. And hence, what is happening is that the unsecured loans, which were supposed to be a big instrument of inclusion, suddenly have are not working, right? So that's one problem that you see. And there are so many companies, specialized companies, which has come into credit scoring and all those areas, very big companies also, right? Uh, what I'll say is, see the data, if you look at the government's in terms of providing the data, providing the kind of platforms, account aggregator platforms, and all those things, there is availability of large and a large number of data sources which are available. Now, if we look at that data, maybe the data science community, the data scientists can actually work with product owners, and they can help to provide customized products, which could customize product rather than giving a very broad range of or a single product to so many people. That's something which is there. Now, the other thing is, at the time of onboarding, there is a lot of thing that is done in lending, but there would be a new set of systems which would be coming. Let's call them the early warning systems. They'll be coming and they'll be sort of monitoring the entire ecosystem, the person who has been the borrower, I'll say, the macro environment, the company, everything. And probably even before something goes wrong, the way, like I said, that even before the customer comes to know about the need, the company comes to probably know before that. So maybe before something goes wrong, probably these lenders would be able to pick up those signals. And then what will happen is that will lead to a little healthy kind of a portfolio, right? So a lot of things happening in terms of, let's say, uh, lending world, a new set of products going to come. We'll have to look at new ways of underwriting, because whatever we are doing probably worked well, but things have changed, it seems, and they are maybe not going the right way. Maybe it's a temporary phenomena. I'm sure that data scientists will put their head together, and there will be solutions to it. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your again wonderful insights. Now coming back to the most important, you have talked about generative AI, right? Generative AI is really transforming in all various industries, including fintech. How do you see this kind of applications impacting, say like customer service? You talk about advice, you talk about onboarding, even fraud detection. Just now you have mentioned how they can detect the fraud. They can The lenders can get to know with the use of generative AI how this fintech industry can be transforming the entire process.
So, as I talked about it, the most common applications that everybody is talking about is replacing those chatbot requirements for customer service, or for some maybe the initial offering of products through some Gen AI. Basically, that's what we hear. But if you leave those applications, there are other applications which we see. Example, in risk management. Now, with this AI models trained so well, what we see is finally we'll have, let's say, we'll have some kind of capabilities in terms of simulating scenario. So, example, there is a loan portfolio. We'll be able to simulate scenario. What happens if the macro environment is not so good as the way it should be? What if the micro environment is not good? So we can look at the macro environment, we can look at the micro environment, and accordingly we can simulate those scenarios. So before things happen, you are ready. If you have simulated these scenarios, the lending organizations or the finance organizations would be a little bit ready, okay, in terms of products, in terms of risk management. So the risk management definitely is going to change. investment advisory, robo advisory, as we used to call it. But now, what is going to happen is that with this capability of AI handling so much of a data, right, uh, customers, and here what will happen is customers can simply input their life cycle requirements, and they'll get the most relevant result rather than saying that okay, you buy this product or that product. The things will go in a different way. Instead of a human trying to thrust some product on you, maybe there would be a simple dashboard before you. You can put your goals, life goals, maybe your life cycle stage, and you get a kind of a relevant advice there. So the investment advisory, probably what Gen AI will do is it will almost be like a human decision maker, intelligent human decision maker, has this capability of getting a lot of data, churning that data very fast, and that is what is going to change the investment advisory. Now, in terms of, let's say, lending, if you look at credit managers, then what is going to happen is probably they'll not have to look at a lot of data. They'll not have to look at tables and tables of data. How this Gen AI thing will change is they can ask their question, and those questions would be in plain, simple English or whatever. It could be in Hindi or Marathi, whatever like language they prefer. Probably one day we'll have models in those vernacular language also, and their questions could be very very simple. Right? Is it that if I give a loan of 10 lakhs to this customer, uh, do you think that he'll be able to repay, or when is he going to default? What is the probability that he will default? Simple question, simple answer. You don't have to go through that whole data and go through the data coming from so many sources and do all that. Or simply ask a question: is some kind of a raid that has happened on this person, ED raid or income tax raid or a GST raid, any such raid has happened? Maybe you get the answer there. Yes, there is a very serious raid. This has happened, something like that. So it's like you are interacting with a human, asking questions and getting answers. Right? So this is what we'll see these changes coming up, because the kind of funding that is happening in the AI sector, and there are some AI companies which are specifically working on fintechs and finance. So you'll see they coming up with these kind of solutions. Now, having said that, let me also add one more thing here. And you can open your chat GPT thing and you can try this, or anybody can try that. Now, there you can type a simple prompt, a simple command, and you can ask the chat GPT what is the best debt to income ratio to provide personal loans in India? A simple question. And then what will happen is the answer would be very fairly accurate. You'll be surprised the answer would be fairly accurate. It will say, see, if you want to give a personal loan to somebody in India, your DTI, or the debt to income ratio, should be at least more than 40%. If it is above 60%, it's very good. And that's how the industry works. So the answer is pretty good, and the answer is good. But now let's say if I ask is how many personal loans, yeah, I'm asking the numbers, how many personal loans are happening in India? The answer is vague, right? It is able to tell about percentage increase over last year, or a percentage increase that is predicted to happen over 5 years, something, but you don't get a precise answer. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is that still the data which is required specifically for working on the Indian finance sector probably is not available. It's nobody's fault, because that data has not been specifically given to these AI models. So the point that I'm coming to is there a lot of fine tuning that would be required. So a fine tuning in terms of the data that we are providing for training will have to be done, and that will lead to a change, right? So some very India specific finance related, probably large language models, so generative AI models will come. The other thing is when we are training these GPTs, or
Right.
then it's very very important that we follow something known as a triple H kind of a framework. So triple H stands for honest, helpful, and harmless. If you look at the
Okay.
finance sector, if you want adoption of technology, if you want customers to believe in you, it's very very important that you prove that it's honest, helpful, and a harmless kind of a framework that you are using. Your technology is following this framework, then only there is a chance to go ahead and technology flourishing and customer adopting it. If customers adopt it fast, believe me, the banks and the financial institutions, NBFCs or anything, would, or insurance companies, would be under pressure to adopt it. Right? So that's very very important. So this is what I'll say. But generative AI, you have to see that probably there are some downsides also that we have seen.
Right.
Like example, deep fakes, if you look at it,
Mm.
very easy to generate, you know that. And the kind of I'll talk specifically of nuisances that are happening through deepfakes in the area of finance. Like example, identity frauds. There have been instances where people have bypassed video KYCs, right?
Mm.
Using, now how dangerous. Now you are pretending to be somebody else and taking a loan on somebody else's name. The person will find that out somebody has taken a loan on my name after some time, and nobody can trace who did that. Manipulating financial news. So if you
Yes,
want to have
there
the,
are a
let's say,
lot,
stock
many are
market
happening. I mean, this is
happening.
actually, this is something which is my next, discussion.
Hmm.
But one thing I would like to, since we were discussing the first, before that, pointers like, generative AI, right? So one question, surprisingly struck my mind that how scary it is. I mean, definitely there are a lot of, boons and everything is there, but when we are building a product depending on all this features and everything put together, but generative AI is giving you a ready-made product. So the over a period of time when you're building this product, it took a lot of time and then you get a ready-made product. Then how you deal with this kind of scenarios?
Okay, so that's a good question. I mean, what you are saying is, see, I built a product, and then suddenly, if something of this sort happens, then the product itself comes
I
into
mean,
question.
ChatGPT obviously cannot give at least the 100% ratio, maybe 60% or 50%. Even they're giving the kind of answers.
Right.
I
That's
still feel that there is a lot of loss, right, in terms of the time, monetary, and other thing as well.
Well,
What's your
that's very
take?
right. That's what I said. That is still not there. So, in terms of usage, if you want to use ChatGPT, we have to spend a lot. There is no doubt about it, right? There is no quick solution to this. The training is very very difficult. Just to give you an idea, when the GPT-4 model
Mhm.
was trained, the amount that it costs just to train that model is around $3 million. Now, how many people in India can afford $3 million just for training a kind of a model? Now, that's not the end of it. You have to build a entire ecosystem. That means you need to get something which can draw plots for you. You need to get some technology which can make images for you. So there are a lot of other technologies that have to be integrated. So it's a game of lot of money again. I don't know, there are a lot of companies which are coming up which are into pure play AI, generative AI. So I'm not really sure how will they overcome this cost barrier. Maybe Indians are known for optimizing things, and they are able to do things which probably have happened in US for a fraction of cost. Example is our Mars mission. You can take that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
ideally,
satellite
yeah,
mission. Yes, yes,
satellite
absolutely.
mission. So, but the thing is, I'm just, maybe you may say that okay, that satellite and the space is a different ball game to altogether. Maybe the nuances in finance are not the same. That may happen. I don't know. I'm also making a guess, and it's a very interesting time. We'll have to see 1 year, 2 year down the line what happens. But one thing I'll definitely say, that when you are building a product, the security is a layer on top of it, right? You build a product and there is a security layer. So if the
Totally.
security layer is breached, the product itself doesn't become discarded. The product may not become bad. The security of it may become very bad, right? So what we have to, it's like I go to a house and easily somebody can break into it. That doesn't make the house a bad house. Right? The house remains a good house. It's only the security layer was easily breached. So when these breaches happen, the product still remains a good product. The only thing is that security wrapping or that security rail guards around it should be made better. That's very very important, right? So, but that's an area of concern definitely, because people who hacken into the security, who are able to, let's say, do an intrusion into your security, they are always ahead of the technology, ahead of people who are
Oh,
able to
yes.
catch them. So the amount of ultimately people are able to catch them. So what will happen is somebody will do some kind of a hacks, and immediately the security, cyber security experts and all those things start working on it, and they catch up with them finally. So whatever, like this lead and this catching up, whatever this duration is, that amount, for that duration, the losses will keep on happening. Now, if within that duration, if somebody is able to, let's say there is a gang of 100 people who are able to do identity frauds, and each is able to take, let's say, take a loan of 20 lakhs, then definitely 2 crores are lost to, let's say, fakes. But the news spreads very quickly. And then what happens? People become a little more conservative. They take steps to overcome this. And then suddenly you have to then find out a new way of scamming people. So this will keep on happening. Losses will keep on happening. There's a problem, and at times these losses can be very big. Example: a credit card data gets hacked or is available on the deep net. So then that really becomes very big, right? But this will keep on happening. Technology is of a nature where developments will happen. Hackers will be a little ahead. We'll keep on catching, and all those things will happen. So some losses will happen. That's the sad part of it, and maybe ultimately it's the customers who are going to bear the brunt of it. Yeah.
So still, it is
Still, it
a
is a
major concern, right? Cybersecurity
yes.
being into fintech, it's still a major concern. Recently, we have seen there are a lot of apps. They have been doing a lot of claiming that they have taken money, and it's a vice versa. So,
That's right.
and also there are chances that the company is getting blamed, and they have to shut down their businesses in India.
Yeah, in some cases that has also happened. Some businesses have shut down. But always remember, a single customer, if he gets duped of 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs, it's a very big loss to them. At times, it's their life saving, right? At an organization level, at a bank's level, that may be a very small loss. 2 crores may be a very small loss for a bank. But if there is a 5 lakh or a 10 lakh loss that happens for a person who is retired, and these people targets as retired and elderly people, then it's a big loss. The person may never ever be able to overcome that loss, right? So personal losses definitely are going to be very, very big. That's one thing that is going to happen. What can we do? We really don't know, because on one hand we have to, let's say, adopt technology, we have to advance it, and there would be a group of people, there would be, I'll say, people who think negative, who want to use this technology negatively, and will keep on doing some or the other kind of damage.
Right.
So let's see how this happens. So, but damages will keep on happening. That's there.
Coming to the next part, next segment, that is, I mean, maybe it is very close to you since you are a academician as well as also a industry, expert. Skills, right? How important it is. I mean, you have seen that different domains are. I mean, in fintech itself, there are different tracks out there, right? So as a fresher, they wanted to build their career in fintech. So number one question is, if you can give a brief idea about what are the tracks are available. And second thing is, maybe you can little bit, if you can help us to know what are the certifications associated to do. It will help the as a freshers or maybe a person who is getting into a fintech domain. What are the things would be helpful for them?
So, uh, Shantama, I'll talk about the skills which are required for the data scientist and the AI scientist in the area of fintech.
Right. Right.
Finance industry is very wide, and the skills there vary. Right? So I'll not talk about them, just because to keep focused on the topic, because our topic says AI innovation. So I'll talk around those skills more. So one thing I mentioned, like during our discussion, that these models are still not there. We have to fine tune them. We have to give
Mm.
them a new training data, right? So there is a whole lot of scope that is available. So we need people who are good at handling these large language models, who can generate lot of training data. The training data may not be in the form that we need it. So that means we have to tag it, make it ready in a particular form, and then keep on testing those models. And these may be open source models completely. And ChatGPT cannot be trained; it's a closed model. So we can take a lot of open source models which can be then trained and trained for specific, maybe for lending, for robo advisory, maybe for security purposes, right? Or it could be about, let's say, looking at stocks, quantitative analysis of stocks, and all those things. Security analysis, as we call it. So different reasons. But let me tell you, these are all specializations which are there. Now, luckily, what happens is, you are right. There should have been, if things are so specialized, then we should have specialized certifications now. But I do not see those certifications available. That's not a very good thing. What is available are journalist skills in AI and ML, and they are available from many sources. There are a lot of certifications which are available. So what happens is that generally people come with skills which are into machine learning, AI, or they understand some sort of LLM applications, and they come into the industry. They try to understand the domain, and they then try to marry the domain and the AI skills, and then they go ahead. Right? This is what it is happening. There are no specialized skills where I can say that okay, there is a certification which is available for understanding that how portfolio management is done. There are a lot of books there. There are some courses which are available in UK universities and all those things. But India or US, I haven't seen any specialized uh, certification courses which can say that okay, you are a specialized portfolio manager or a risk manager. Though there is a post graduation degree available in risk management, FRM, financial risk management, is there. But certification, short term certification, there is a whole scope which should be provided, and NBFCs and banks should come forward. Ultimately, this is meant for them. They should involve their experts, and there could be experts from the AI side. They could sit together, design certification courses to address this talent gap. There is a serious talent gap in India. So to address that, this can happen, right? At least I am ready to work with such. Uh, then at the bottom, if you look at it, it's still, if you look at it, is the analytics. So getting data from different sources, using some basic statistical calculations on that, doing some visualization on it, populating dashboards. That is what is
Right.
going on. So two distinct areas, if you look at it, one is the analytics, one is the RBI and statistics. Then there will be another area which is little more advanced, which will be around machine learning, AI, which will also include these LLM. This is what is going to happen. But to succeed, the bottom line is you have to be good at the AI domain. But finance requires, if you want to do finance applications, it requires a solid knowledge of that domain also. Now, when we say finance,
Subject.
it has so many
Yes.
sub areas. So
Right.
you have to understand what area are you working on, insurance, whatever, personal finance, whatever. So that's
Wonderful. I think this is really exciting, and I feel that there are a lot of things we have not touched. Especially, you talk about satellite data, satellite with AI. Also, you talk about somebody mentioned responsible AI. The honesty and all. I think we can save it for the next podcast series. Uh,
okay.
yeah, because it will take some
Definitely.
the time to do it, but whatever information we gathered, that's really wonderful, and we would very much looking forward to work with you and the team for building this kind of curriculum along with the universities to deliver to our students across the nation. Thank you, Dr. Amit, for coming to our show and discussing a lot about fintech. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
that.
Gandhi. Thank you.